Hello, hello, everyone, and happy Thursday, April the 17th, 2025. So let's start with traditional boring stuff. And I'm just trying to put my bottle down, which was right in my face. Let me know if you can hear me so we can proceed with the show today and all your questions. Morning, Thompson X. Who else is here? I can see from whatever dashboards I have that 10 people are watching. And maybe because I started on time. Let's see. Yes, Jay, thank you very much. So, well, there we go. People are pouring in by the thousands. Yeah, so today we're going to take your questions from the chat. And I'm going to go to the spreadsheet, which are the questions that come from the question form. And I'm going to do some housekeeping towards the end of the show. Fantastic. And no gym today by Thompson X. Okay. Don't put the guilt on me, right? I would say go watch the show and then do, I don't know, 5,000 push-ups or something like that. Okay, what do I need to do now? Now I need to remind you just one thing, that if you do have a question, it will be very, very convenient for me if you preface it with capitalized question and then just ask the question in the chat so that I can distinguish it from general comments and stuff like that. Excellent. So with that said, I am going to add my screen. I think, there we go. Here it is. Here's my screen. And ADT Films, you sent me a message on Twitter, not a technical question. No, thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. I'm not going to reveal everyone's actual name here because I don't have permission. But in any case, users do contact me, and I do provide support to the extent that I have time and I can. Excellent. Everyone's going to the gym after to sweat off some of the high-calorie education I'm going to give you. So I'm going to start with a couple of things from the spreadsheet before anything else. And something is, okay, I've got too many monitors around me and too many people bugging me. So yes, let's go to the comments as well here. Excellent. So let's begin. I'm going to bring up my spreadsheet, and there you go, the form. And let me go up and find. I had some exciting questions. I color code these questions. Okay, let's start with a few easy ones. And I can put them, you know something, I'm going to try and put the questions on a banner so that if for any reason people can have access to that. I need to go to the banners and create a new banner and paste this in and add the banner, and let's put it here. So can I use the Loft generator with Tracer, with the splines that are generated by Tracer? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. And as far as the Loft generator is concerned, the only way to feed it, not individual splines. So if you go to the Loft here, we know that we can put all sorts of individual splines here. And if you go to Cineversity, I've done a series on the Loft, which you may find interesting. So it tries to, it's the only generator that will create geometry that complies to different shapes. Now, the only generator you can put under the Loft that will produce more than one splines is the cloner. But, and it's one of those big butts linear. Let's go to Z. You can see that we are generating these splines here. And the good thing is that, well, you can do this, and you can go here and say, okay, maybe I want to scale these up or move them around. I like the scaling option for this. So let's do a uniform scale, and let's put some sort of random field in here. And let's go and scale them up. So you can do these sort of random little thingies, and you can do that. Now, the problem with this is a special case. It only works with the cloner or individual splines. If you do take this loft and you move it around, what you will see is that you get, and let me delete the scaling, you will get a double movement. And that is an unfortunate limitation. I guess if you do want to move it around, you may have to put it under a null, and that's what you need to do to make it move properly. So that's the exception. It can be very handy, but you have to use it with the understanding that it is what it is. And yeah, I would assume go to Cineversity and check out the tutorials and search for Loft, and a couple of those I explain what it does and all the parameters and all that, because you just need a good understanding, and then it's very helpful. Excellent. So that is as far as the Loft generator is concerned. So sorry that you can't use it with the tracer. Now, this is an interesting one, which I had to ask my friend Darren, which is one of our great members of the training team, and he is one of the most experienced of our trainers. Okay, so thank you, Darren, for showing me the solution. Let me just do this, add the banner, and show it up. I would love to see an introduction in creating custom interfaces for materials, just showing relevant attributes in the attributes manager, as most Redshift materials in the asset browser do, and so forth. Now, this is a very interesting one, and yeah, the solution is so simple that, as I've said at my NAB presentation, and for anyone that is not aware, we went to NAB. We came back last week, and if you go to the Maxon YouTube channel, you will see the recordings from the NAB floor, edited and presented as videos. So go check them out. I did a presentation as well about anamorphic projections, the stuff people use for those huge billboards and Times Square and whatnot. And yeah, so where I was going with this, that sometimes what I'm showing is so simple, and of course, on the other hand, I always want to make things appear interesting, and of course, I want myself to appear smarter than I am, as if that exists. But in any case, I will drag on about something to make it appear more interesting. So here's what the ask is. Just going to create a Redshift material, drag it here. Okay. Now, whenever you select the material here, you are always presented with the base properties, which include all these things. And in some cases, you want to create your own little material here and encapsulate it in a way where when you select this, it only shows you a couple of properties that you want to do. And so it appears that the way I originally started trying to solve this problem was, okay, what if I want this material to have everything else fixed? And the only thing you can change, I only want for this material is to expose the color. That's it, nothing else. And my first thought, which is not going to work, was to drag the color, add in your input, and expect that now that I have a manual input, I'm going to get only that. That will not work. And that is not the solution. So you can double click, get rid of that, get rid of this. What we need to do is utilize, if you go here, there is in the node, this command here that says start node right here. So what we need to do is find a way to create a node with certain inputs, which we will use as the start node. So I think the best way to do that would be a group. And well, let me see, can I go backwards? Yeah, you can go backwards and you can put the roughness and add new input. So we have this and this as the roughness. Now what I want to do is make sure that these are propagated to the left. And now, sorry, what you have to do is select this node. Now look at this and go and say up here, sorry, wrong menu. The reason I got confused is that usually I will work with my nodes. So the menu is up here. But in this particular case, I had it open and I lost my menu. So node, start node. So now this here is going to have that start nodes parameters. And that's just about it. That's why I had to drag it on, because it's very simple. So this is the nose mat, right? Nose mat. And it only gives you color and it only gives you roughness. That's it. So that's how you can make your own materials. For further other stuff here, I think, can you edit this port and do stuff, maybe change the default value? I don't know if this is going to work. Let's say the default value is green. So when I select this and let's say I change the color, let's see if it's going to work. Right click, reset to default. No, it doesn't work. But anyway, who cares? These are details. So there you go. Use the start node. That's what you need to do. Fantastic. So that question has been answered. Let's look at some questions from the comments. Let me go up. And where are we here? Are we here? There you go. Let's see this question from Jonathan. So you want to decorate a ceiling beam with a cloth. I want the cloth ribbon simulation to grow across a plane and be connected every 8 or 10 feet along the surface. Well, this is unfortunate. You cannot grow a cloth simulation or a rope simulation. You cannot do that because the simulation presumes that at frame 0, your points are all accounted for. So anything that has a changing point count or polygon count, especially, well, same thing, but topologically, even if the points are being shuffled around, that would not work. So what you would need to do, let me give you some potential options. It's not going to be a solution, a final solution for you, but it is what it is. What you could do is, right, let me think here. Let's assume we have some sort of spline here, okay? We have the spline. And I'm going to, let's say, use this spline in whatever. All right, I want this to be a rope. So I guess simple solution would be to select these. Let's right click. Let's make sure we have subdivisions. Let's go uniform 16. Let's right click and go to the rope. And let's fix these 2 points and see what happens here. Let's go to the object. Oh, give it. There you go. So this is your your rope. So what you can do is maybe pre-simulate your rope and then just use this with, again, it's not going to be very good, but what can I say? Grow a cloth, sorry, some sort of sweep on this. So let's take a rectangle. Let's make it very thin. If you want it double-sided or single-sided, it doesn't really matter. And just get a sweep and do this. Maybe I need to do this the other way around. Which way is it? Downwards. Oh, I'm just going to just change these to 102. There you go. So what we have here is this, okay? But I can go to the sweep and say engrowth and do that. So it is growing. It's not that the curtain is growing, but it kind of looks like this. Now, the other thing you could do if you want to retain the number of points is to, all right, so what are we going to do? So this is my rope, spline rope. Let's get rid of this. And now let's take a nice little plane and let's make it face backwards. And what I'm going to do is just increase the number over there. Excellent. So let's try something else. Again, I'm no guarantee. By the way, 2025.2 provides all the Rocket Lasso spline capsules as part of the main interface and to all Cinema 4D subscribers. You don't have to be a max on 1. Okay, and where was I? Yes, I need a spline wrap here. And I'm going to spline wrap that over there. Good. Oh, maybe I need to make it lie down. Plus X. Is it plus Y? There you go, plus Y. So what we have here is this. Now, it is going from the center of the spline. You could, I think, the offset, it's not the offset I want. What do I need to do here to make it work properly? Do I need to move the bounding box? That is one of the things I may need to do. Although I'm digressing now, but hey, who cares? That's what we do here. And let's see if that is the height. Of course, it's not never that one or this one. So that is the bounding box scale and the bounding box center. It's always the third one. There you go. Just move this around. See, boop, 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 boop. Something like this, right? Now, the great thing about this is, so there is a great thing about this. And the great thing about this is that you can do this over here. So you can animate this and say from here to here, go from here to here. See if that's going to work. Boo, 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 boo. So you can do something like this. And I'm not even sure, could we, let me think. There could be other ways, to be honest. You could potentially do something and use this as a cloth as well and pin it somewhere. I'm not sure. I'm not absolutely sure. But these are a couple of ways you can use to fake the effect, because as if everything else in 3D is not fake. Excellent. So that would be one of the ways I would use. Okay. I'm not going to talk about XRefs right now because it is a larger, it's a very large topic. For anyone who doesn't know, XRefs are just objects. You can, let me just show people what XRefs are. And that's all. So I've got, let's get this scene here. I'm just going to create something silly, right? Just something. Something. There you go. So this is a thing, right? This is a scene. And let me go and save it. We need to press the correct. I'm on my other screen. I'm going to go to my folder here and save this as a thing, right? I'm just going to name it thing. There you go. So we have this thing. So what happens here is that we have team members working on a scene, and they all want to use that thing as it is. What you would do is you would go and Shift X, XRef, and you will get, let's get an XRef. I think this is one of the many ways to do that. So I'm going to go and load it. I'm going to load the thing. So this now contains this thing. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can, let's go and use the object mode to scale it. There we go. Scale it down using object mode and so forth. Now, what if something happens and the thing needs to change? So I'm going to open the thing, or you can go here and go and open it. You can open for edit. Let's do it the proper way. You say open for edit, and it will open that original thing. And maybe instead of this dude, we want to add, I don't know, a puppet. So I'm going to grab a puppet and put the puppet here and get rid of the figure. Right, there's a puppet. I'm going to save the thing. I'm going to go to my original scene where we've changed this, and I'm going to reload. So this is the objective of using XRefs, that you can have someone working on various assets and other people working on the rest of the populating the scene and so forth. But you have to be fairly careful on what you do here, what you change, and what you can change. You can see various things are locked and so forth. And there were some improvements in the last, not 2025.2, but I think 2025.1. So that is a general idea. And maybe if there's enough interest, we can expand and maybe do more tutorials about that. Okie dokie. Okay, let's see. This is a very quite generalized. So how would you make dust and smoke with Pyro in a situation where an object stops suddenly over a road and cloud of dust sets in? Well, I guess the problem is that smoke always goes up, whereas dust goes up a bit and then falls down with gravity. So I don't know what you're trying to achieve, but just using density, that should get you close enough. I don't know if there are some examples here of Pyro. I thought there was something like dust. They've got steam, explosion, particles, fog. I don't know if we had any dust. So let's open this and see what happens. Does this look like dust? I do not know, but here's a setup. Let's wait for the GPU to wake up. Wake up, GPU. Yeah, the fans are loading. So give it a sec. Come on. Come on. There we go. There you go. Dust. So what I would say is that take a look at the presets and see what is happening in this particular one. Just go here and look for dust, I guess. Dust. And it will give you this dust kick. And you'll get some sort of idea on how to do it. Okay, let's see. My friend Drake, hello, how are you? Let me just show my face so I can greet you properly. I need to do this. There you go. Hello. And well, let's see. Vertex field to control hair. Yeah, this is an interesting question. I need to get to it. If you can post it, if you can ask for it on the spreadsheet, sorry, on the form, I don't know if you've already asked about it, because I didn't manage to go through all the list of questions. If not, or DM me on Twixer. Okay. So, Drake, how would you, using Pyro, great smoke wisp tendril like a serpentine trail rising from a recently lit cigarette? Yeah. Yeah. These very wispy, very organic effects could be slightly tricky. Now, where was I showing this? Was I showing it to anyone? Let me see if, so I'm not going to do Pyro. I'm not going to do something set up with Pyro, but I'm going to show you how you can fake Pyro just by using volumes. I don't know if you already know this. So let's try something. You can have a volume builder, and always make sure when you want to imitate and render using volumes, don't use sign distance field. Pretty much exclusively, and I say pretty much, for any render effects or volumes, you will not use signed distance field, which is for surfaces. So fog, and let's get an n-side. Just put it in here. Okay. Now here's my fog, and let's get a bit more density here, and you can see that you can make it thinner, and of course density, increase this to get that continuous thing going. You can change the radius, make sure that the radius is never smaller than the smallest voxel. So now imagine this, and I'm going to do something because it's fun. I'm going to use the electric spline modifier to modify this. There you go. Here's my directable smoke here, and yeah, you can add more points. I'm using Control or Command on the Mac to create this. So let's assume this is your smoke, and now you want to render it. Now, of course, you could go and just create a volume. You will go here and you will create a volume material, or any material for that matter. You're going to get rid of this. You're going to use volume, and you can use the standard volume or the old volume, whatever you want to use. Put it in the volume. Make sure that here you set this to your volume builder, apply the material here, and of course you can go and you can light this. So let's get an HDR. I apologize if most of you know these things, but this is the nature of the show. There you go. So we have our smoky thingy doodle. Now, you play around with the parameters, and you can do some displacements of the noise and all that. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to name this density. Okay. And I'm going to go here. The name has changed, so it doesn't know what it is. But I'm gonna remove this material. I'm just gonna remove it because I can. And I'm going to go and create a connect object. Now, just in case you missed that episode, the connect object has been improved over the last year or so to accept things like volumes. And you can add a density, a temperature, and you know what I'm going to do? Again, because I can, I'm going to make a copy of this and call it temperature, all lowercase. And just for the fun of it, so I can see what's going on here. So let me turn off the IPR. I'm just going to go here and change how it's working. There you go. Just have these dots. I want these dots to be the source of temperature, and I want everything else to be a source of and maximum box will fall off, because I don't know. I saw it there and I thought I'd click on it. Excellent. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to drag this out because I want to show you. Let's go to external. Now, I'm going to take a huge sidestep because I'm getting this question all the time. Remember the good old days when you have an HDR and you look, and there's a button here in the environment that says background, and you turn it off to remove this? That's the most asked question I've been having lately. Now it's moved, it's been improved. What hasn't been improved is something that tells you you're in the wrong place. Go to the details, and we have this amazing camera contribution now. Not only allows us to turn it off, which is 0, but also it allows us to have different contributions of the magnitude of the background, so we can make it dimmer and so forth. So that's where your background is. Now, let's go back to the original show, back to our original programming. Because I'm using this connect, and I've got this named density and this named temperature, if I name it temperature 1, will it work? What if I name it my temperature? Oh, it still works if it's the second one. Something, anyway, maybe, maybe not. But now we have something that is like a volume. And you can go and you can create here a Pyro volume. And you drop it here. And I guess it should render in the expected way. And it does. So where am I going with this? The reason I'm doing this is that you don't need to use Pyro per se if you want to create Pyro. Now you're still going to have to go around and change your scatter coefficients and change your absorptions and the transparencies if you change your mode, and it's all these little details you do need to change. If you use a principled volume, sorry, a standard volume. Why did I call it principled volume? A standard volume, you get a different set of parameters. So let's go density, and let's go, where's my emission? And go here to temperature. And if you get where, there you go, you have to either go and refresh sometimes for it to work the way you want it to. So make sure here, I guess, black body radiation is what we're looking for. We got the temperature. Let's increase the temperature here. Then let's refresh. Anyway, I don't know why it's not coming through. Probably have something not set properly. But in any case, it should come through. Just make sure the typing is correct. Yep. Interesting. Offset, scale. There you go. I think it was a scale or something. It was 0. In any case, you can use this with, I guess, transparency, which will give you a wispier smoke. You can see here how much wispier it is. And what I'm trying to say here is that you can art direct smoke without actually using Pyro itself, and you can always fake it if you wish. Oh, please, GPU's driver. GPU drivers. The GPU driver gods did not spare me this time. I'm in GPU driver purgatory, I guess. That's nothing else to say. But the general reply is that you can art direct your way through Pyro by not using Pyro, or using Pyro with a combination of volumes and so forth. But in any case, the great thing is that the volume builder in its 3 modes, if you go to volume builder, you have the 3 modes. The sign distance field, don't use it. The fog for temperature. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. Yay. So let me just go, let's go here. So the volume builder has, I'll make it bigger. The sign distance field, which is not important for Pyro effects. The fog, which is for temperatures and whatnot, and pressures and all that. And the vector, which is for velocities. And you can use these to hack yourself your own custom volume. Fantastic. Okay. Let's go down. Explain the location tool and the dynamic location. I think you mean the placement and the dynamic placement. I would propose you go and check out the quick tips, which we have for both. The 30-second version, you have an object here, and let's create a cylinder, for example. With the place tool and with the object selected, you can go and place it one by one, and you can press copy to create another one, and I'm pressing control. And while you're doing this, you can undo, you can go here to this purpley thing and scale it, and you can go to the thing and rotate it. And then settings to set it. This guy over here, this is gives you the ability to select more than one. So let me select these, and you press Shift to create a simulation, and then you can bring them together. So it's got some shortcuts. I would say go and check these out. This is for filling objects, throwing things in certain places, and so forth. And we have quick tips for both of these. So I would say just go check them out, and you will learn exactly what they do. Okay, let's see, where were we? Let's see this one. Is there a way to make a spline that has a constant length? Fine, it gets longer or shorter to keep the length constant. No. Nothing I can think of. What the only thing, all right, let me, what we can do is do it indirectly. So the idea here, as far as I understand it, is that we have a spline, right? And this spline has a certain length. If I take this point and I move it here, obviously the spline is longer. And if I move it here, obviously the spline is shorter. The question is there anything we can do to do this modification while retaining the length of the spline? Now, first, I'm going to explain why that expectation is a bit flimsy or dodgy. I'm using a heavy English accent for this, just to mock it a bit. I apologize, Simon. Now, let's try something. What do you expect will happen if I do this? That's the question. You want it to just stay here, right? Or something like that. Or do you want it to stop me from doing that? Because that definitely will not happen. Now, can we do that using some sort of simulation? Not if we move it manually, but if we animate it, we could. But anyway, I digress. What I think we could do here is maybe deform something. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it as usual nonetheless. I'm going to get an end side with 2, which creates a straight line. I'm going to go to uniform, set this to 64. So I have all these segments, right? This is a flat spline. Let me see if I can use the spline wrap on the spline. I'm not sure if I can use it. And let's drag this. Let's go to the spline wrap and drag this here. No, it's not. Oops. Let's see. Or is it? So let's try this. Oh, it is working. So let me see if I can differentiate this. I'm going to make this invisible. Yeah, we are getting this spline. So forget about this for a moment. So what I want to do here is go to the spline wrap. And instead of fit spline, I'm going to keep length. So whatever the length of this is, which is 200 centimeters, is going to be retained, right? So let's assume that 200 centimeters is what I want. That means, right, so let me make it easier to see. I'm going to take this and I'm going to sweep it using a circle. Have you noticed that little whistling noise? So let's go here. There you go. So I'm just going to make this. There you go. So whatever we see here as this object, this is the spline we have just made. And let's add some color, because why not? There you go. Now, if I take this and I move it around, it retains the length of the spline. So I don't know if this works for your case, but it does exactly what you want it to. You define, here is define the length, and you just use this and make sure that you use the keep length, and there you have it. I'm going to save this because why not? Spline keep length. Excellent. So I hope that works for your situation. And let me move. And you don't need nodes, right? I want to say that, so this is, oops, I banged my microphone. So the one thing I want, this question includes a little tidbit which I want to touch upon as a piece of advice. I'm glad it incorporates both the standard tools and the nodes. So it says, is there a way, parentheses, via standard tools or nodes? And my advice is make sure you have exhausted every possible way to do something using classic tools before you start looking into nodes and all that geeky stuff, because there's an enormous amount of things that you will potentially miss by not using the standard tools. Once you are convinced that you've examined all avenues, you've asked all the proper questions, and there is no way to do something, then you move on to the harder stuff, which is nodes and programming and all that kind of stuff. Just want to say that because I think it's important. So let's go down a bit. Let's see. Yeah, this is an interesting one. How can I control the stretchiness of cloth? It drapes too long. Now, it sounds counterintuitive, but I would say increase your substeps. And in my tutorials, I talk about the relationship between the density of the mesh and the way it stretches and so forth, because what you need to remember with our simulation system, it's a point-based simulation system. And that means that when you have settings per point, so if you go to the simulation tag, let's say the cloth, bendinesses and stretchinesses and bounciness and all that are per point, per position, which means that when something is bending, it bends. So these points here, so let me do some. So these points, I'm going to use another color, green. These points here, if they're going to bend, their bending has to do with how they bend as it relates to their opposite points. So how they're going to bend these two, how they're going to bend as opposed to this here, or how they are going to bend. Let's go to this angle here now and delete this, and let's go. And so this point and this point now, as it will bend as it relates to this and so forth. And this is the play, this is the complexity of all this. And that means that because these parameters are per point, and the bendinesses have to do with edges, and the stretchiness have to do with the edge that connects each point and so forth, the tighter your mesh, the more of these bendinesses are going to happen, which means your cloth is going to be more flexible. And to counter this, you would go to your simulation and you would increase your substeps, because it actually gives you a more correct approximation of what's going on, making things a bit more rigid. So that's the balance. You increase these kind of things. Then you go to the secondary stuff where you change the target length, or you try to put less stretchiness in certain directions so that your cloth can stretch in one direction more than the other, and so forth. But generally, um, it's a balance. It's a sense of balance. I want one sec. I want to bring up. Where are we here? There we go. Jess, hello. Welcome back from Las Vegas. You survived. Jess honored us with her presence at the NAB show and did a fantastic presentation. And if you think from her general presence, she's lovely and extremely smart and knows the software inside out, that it's 10 times more in person. So I feel very glad and honored to have met Jess and everyone else that was there. So make sure if you can, and there's some sort of show around the area you live, or you can travel from your work and so forth, you will meet very interesting people, and you will do very good, powerful, strong, and sometimes life-lasting connections with people. I have met a ton of people throughout the years, which I am still in touch with, and yeah. So I know it's not the easiest thing to jump on a plane or a helicopter or whatever, or walk through the desert to get to one of these shows. But if you can, do it. And if Maxon is there, come and see us. Okay. So where are we here? Let's go down. Any plans of introducing project directory system in C4D? Why? I mean, I find it liberating that you can create your own structures and do that. I personally, now, without judgment, sometimes it helps, but I just love, maybe because I'm a Mac person, I love the ability to work anyway. I choose the way to structure my folders. But watch folders or working with various databases and all that, maybe that's a partial solution. But even if there were plans, I can't say anything. That's the unfortunate thing. Okay. Let's see here. 891 is really looking forward to getting into C nodes to do more full node graph driven work. It's possible to perform Booleans with C nodes. The answer is no. We can't do Booleans with C nodes. But what I would like to know, and this is an interesting one, unless someone is making generative setups where the mycelium growth, or I don't know what other things you would like to do in that area, it will be interesting. Tell me what you're trying to do, and maybe why, because I am seeing a lot of setups that can be done outside of nodes using MoGraph or something else. Just saying, nodes are cool, but make sure you watch the tutorials on Cineversity. Okay, what is this? Is there a way to clone a series of objects of different sizes onto a row of adjacent objects, for example, to create a row of bricks, well, various sizes? Oh, that's so funny, because one of the people I met at NAB, which now I can call a very good friend. If you're out there, Roger, hi. I'm very happy to have met you. And it was one of those questions that he asked. Now, I'm not going to build it here because it's potentially going to become, first of all, go watch. All right, so go watch the series we did for Create with Maxon with Dominic Rockley about nodes. He is showing a setup of stacking different objects. But since we are here, let me just find it. Give me a second. I have it here, and I'm just going to open it. And there are 2 versions as far as I remember. Stacking boxes 2. I think this is the one. All right. So here it is, where in this particular case, I'm using a manual. I've rotated this because we wanted to make it simulated that it was falling, because you can do this. So I'm generating these and then they can fall on the ground. Okay, now let me just reset everything here and get rid of that. There we go. So here it's just 4 objects with varying sizes, and it just iterates through all these and places them. And I think I have a little distance here. Yeah, and a little gap. You can add a little gap here and all that. So yeah, this is not difficult. It can be done using different ways. This particular one is using a loop carried value, which is one of the various looping mechanisms we have. And this looks a bit, complex, but it's a handful of nodes. It's not even that complex. And I've created many versions where you can get a bunch of clones and do this and so forth. And I think the second one is without using a loop carried value. Did I finish this? Yeah, this was an experiment I did that on the when I was doing the demo, it failed, but then I came up with this solution. Anyway, there are more than one ways to do this, depending on what you're trying to do. Could be 10 different ways of doing it, but in any case, you can. Now, one thing I'm going to try and do is, if there's enough requests for some of these project files, hit me up on Twitter or something like that, and maybe I can get someone from above to create some sort of bundle. Just tell me what you would like to see, and maybe we can put together a little bundle. And if that's the case, we're probably going to put the link in the description text below or something like that. I will let you know. Okay. So the answer to this question is yes, you can do it. Drake, you're so funny. Is there a tutorial on how to transfer face mocap from moves to a character face? Hashi has done a lot of these on VFX and Chill. Is there a tutorial? Maybe there is. I don't remember. What I've realized lately is that, because I've got requests sometimes, and then I say, oh, that request is actually a very good idea for a tutorial, only to be reminded by other people that have a better memory than me that I did a tutorial like this maybe 6 months or 6 years ago. So maybe there is. I'm not sure, but surely there are ways to do it. And again, hit me up on Twitter or something like that, or go through the form, and I'm going to provide the link. Let me just throw it in the comments since we are here. Let me do that. I need to find the page in my infinite monitors. Where is the page? It should be here or here. It's neither there nor there. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. Where is it? I keep losing things all the time. I don't know where they are. Okay. I'm supposed to have this prepared for the housekeeping. I had it in front of me, and now I can't find it because I have a million windows open. I'm going to get to it towards the end of the show. I don't want to take up your time with these things, but you can ask the question on the forum remind me what it is about, because if there's enough interest about certain things, we can choose in the training team to make a tutorial or something that has a longer shelf life. Okay, let's see. I don't know if I can answer this, but I'm going to read it. Redshift question: is it possible for light pass name to inherit light name, the light pass? I do not know that. Yeah, I do not know that. I'm doing fine. Thank you very much, Jess. Okay. Tech reviewers getting free 5090s. Nah, I don't like the headaches of being a technology front runner where things are getting ironed out. No, I prefer the slow pace of working with things I know have worked for a long time. Like old diesel engines. If they work, they work. They will never break down. They can last 100 years. Okay, let's go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the spreadsheet because I want to be able to reply to a few more questions. So there was a question about using store color to AOV. I think I sent an email to Ed. If you're watching, Ed from Australia, please check your emails. Okay. This is one. I may have some sort of interesting answer. So let me go and add a banner. And a banner. Enter. And show. Because the questions are longer, it can only hold 200 characters. So tilt effect. So rotating the focal plane. Now, for tilt shift photography, I think I have some sort of file prepared, but I can just set it up and just go and find this, and it's tilt shift lens. Okay, and let's go and check this out from sideways. So we have this weird lens here. Now I'm going to remove the camera, and the only thing I'm going to use is these cubes because I just want to create some sort of effect. So you can get a camera here, and you can go to the optical and turn on bokeh. And because things are huge, I'm just going to make my aperture very, 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 very small and bring up my render view. And we are going to go, and you can see we have a lot of depth of field here. And basically, we will focus on the middle ones. Now, to create tilt shift effects, usually the way to do them practically is to use one of those cameras with the accordion thing. There's a name for those where it's just a camera back and it has that thing made of leather or whatever and metal brackets and the lenses here, so you can do all sorts of weird combinations of taking the focal plane and moving it around and twisting it and so forth, and that can produce some very interesting effects. Now, a lot of people do this in post. If you want to imitate this, you will have to do I would guess, the following thing, right? So let me align this so we can see what's happening over here. So here's a camera, right? And let me set it to the middle. So here's my camera. Now I'm going to raise it, and I want to. So first of all, imagine that although the camera back is over here, in the digital world, we do a reverse projection where we show the sort of the camera plane is what represents the camera back. And if I go to my camera and change my shift, now you will see that it's going down, but it's going down vertically. Now, let me make a copy of this camera, put this at 0, and make sure both cameras are visible. I'm going to take this camera and rotate it down. Okay. And what you're seeing here, maybe a bit less. Can I see these always? Display, focus plane. Is that? Can I see it? No, what is that? I want to be able to see my cone. Display on focus plane. Yeah, let's see. There we go. So I'm going to rotate this. So this one is not rotated. So this one is looking in the same direction, but you can see that, let's call it focal plane here, is rotated because it rotates with the camera, whereas this one is vertical. Well, this is what you would consider rotating the camera back. So you don't rotate this directly, but you counter rotate the camera. So in this particular case, you would rotate your camera, maybe the other way around or something like that, and do whatever effect you want to do. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to rotate it upwards, and then I'm going to use the cameras. There we go. So this is sort of the way you would go about doing something like this. And then you just take your camera and move it as far away as you need in order to focus on these things. And let's move this even further and further until I get everything in. There we go. And let's bring this here. And that's basically the idea, right? Let me go and make my aperture 0.01 just to increase the depth of field here. But that would be how you would pretend you're rotating your camera back, by rotating the camera and then compensating the rest of the parameters. So hopefully this is, this will help you achieve the tilting and not only the shifting. So that will be the reply to this question. And the question was asked by Tomic from Slovakia. Okay. There's a question about open fonts from Neil from the Netherlands. And it refers to these, what are these typefaces? Oh, it's a variable typeface. All right, so there's some variable typefaces which in Cinema 4D we cannot use directly. And this is just so that you know, if you go here and you use any text, you have to go through the fonts that are installed in your, your system, right? And it doesn't support those variable fonts. But if you go to, let's go here to the nodes and let's get a spline, just keep it simple. And in this node, if you type text, you will see one extra parameter. So press Q to connect it. You will see and use your variable font. And this will prompt you to go and load a variable font. I don't even know where, if I have, do I have one of these? No. What is that typeface? I think I did some tests, but I don't know where it can be or the. Now, the problem with these fonts, though, is you need to make sure, because they're made of different segments, and the example would be that, I'm just going to show this because I don't know how to load one of these, is that if you have the A is not really made this way. I'm going to make this editable. The A is made by, I'm going to use my knife here and actually, I'm just going to go and delete those points. over here and make sure I can open the spline and delete these two here. And the way this is made is, come on, go here and let's open this. And is it that they're both open? Good. And I want to connect these two. Let's go join segment. It's different segments. Thinking, just thinking. So I need to move fast here. So the A would be made like this and like this. That's how the A is made. And you can see it on some websites where for some reason the browser doesn't support it, where you will see the letter, instead of a solid one, you would see some really teeny little gaps over there, like very, very small gaps. So as far as the question, yeah, and if it's extruded, it creates the holes. You will see these holes, I would assume, even if you extrude this. Okay. And here, it's doing a pretty decent job. We're not seeing the holes. In any case, the point being that if you load one of these fonts in your nodal setup, in your node generator, whatever you're trying to do, I'm just going back to get the node spline and open it up. To avoid those holes, you need to merge the segments, and hopefully it is going to work. So that is the reply to this long-winded one again. Now, we have another one which from time to time it crops up. And so is it possible to control an attribute change for Redshift material using Displacer in Cinema 4D and stuff like that? So the question is generally, I have a mesh and I'm doing something with that mesh and I want to control an attribute. Let's say displacement. So you would go and you would say, oh, let's get a displacement. There we go, displacer, and let's get a noise. And let's apply this displacement here, and there you have it. And I want to use whatever I have in displacement to do something with Redshift. And the answer is going in this direction, doing something in the displacement and expecting it to show up in Redshift. No. What you do need to do is use some sort of data. So here, the data that's used in order to do the displacement is a noise. And this particular noise shader is not the same noise shader we're going to get in Redshift, so we can't really do anything there. But what you can do is, instead of a displacer, let's assume that my, I want to do some sort of Luca. Let's say this is what I want to do, and we'll have some animation speed, and this is what I want to achieve, but I want the peaks to have some sort of different color in Redshift. Then, no, let's go back and disassemble sort of the concept. We need a Luca noise that's slightly animated, that displaces points, but we want to use the data that is displacing to change an attribute. So delete this. And I need to get a field, and that field is going to be a random field, because the random field allows us to drive more than just displacements, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do my Luca, I'm going to do my displacement, I'm going to do, sorry, my scaling and my bit of animation, right? Now I want to use this noise to do two things. One is drive a displacement. So create a plane effector. That plane effector, set it to deform mode points, change the parameter, put the maximum point, whatever you want to do here. Go in the fields and drag this in here. So we have our displacement now. Okay, this is what we did with the displacer. But now the original data is not on the, let's say, black box of the displacer, right? It's coming through a field. But wait a minute, we can read point data and we can write point data. So let's go and create a vertex map. In that vertex map, I'm going to use this. And this is what I have now. I'm using the same data that's creating the displacement is actually changing the points, right? Now, the great thing about this is I can go specifically to the vertex map, right? And I'll choose which one I'm going to do this to. I think this needs to be off. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Who cares? And I'm going to make this more contrasty. So make sure reset so that linear splines. There you go. I've got my peaks. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting those values independent of how much I'm displacing it. And I know that a specific peak here is going to have a specific value. And you can play around with this in any way you want. You can do a soft interpolation. You can ease them in, and you can do anything. And this is now an attribute you can read inside of Redshift shader, right? Just make sure that you put proper names. So peaks, so that it doesn't get confused. So I'm just going to copy this and go to your material, create material, drop it on here, and use a vertex attribute and paste the name. Will it find it here? No, you won't find it. And you can go here and say, oh, well, you know something? I'm going to go to, the color. And there it is. We're getting our little peak as an attribute. So this has to do with a different way of constructing things. You have to take a step back. And instead of saying, I'm going to do this using a displacer, you first have to think of what is the data I can use both to displace and to use as something that Redshift can read. And the great thing about this is that, of course, it scales, it's procedural, and it will scale with any kind of object. Oh, this looks nice. Good. So where are we? What time is it? Yeah, I forgot to tell everyone that I would like to end the session at 12 noon, but I didn't tell you, so I need to continue. I need to be truthful to my word, and my word wasn't said, which means that we're going to continue and overrun by a bit. So worry not, we have more things to say. Okay, there you go. This is the one I, It's an interesting one. Snaps and guides don't show in orthogonal views. Okay, that's I don't know, but maybe you need to contact support as well, because it should work as far as I understand. So get a plane and let's turn on snapping, and let's bring up my snapping and do this here. So snapping is on, and let's get a small cube. I'm going to get a small cube, 10 by 10 by 10, and it snaps. But let's see what happens with guides. So let's turn on the guides, and I want to do intersections as well. So let's make this hover over here. Oh, they're not showing up until I move. Yeah, this looks odd. But if I go here, I'm hovering. Okay. Let me think. I think this is something that needs to be reported, because it should show up. Yeah. Please do me a favor and contact support about this. And I remember I'm going to give it a spin as well. Okay. Let's go down here. Yes, NAB was now. It wasn't. Oh, yes. So everyone, let's send some good thoughts to our very good friend Jess, because she's not feeling very well. So yeah, everyone, look towards. Oh, I don't know. exactly the direction. But generally, look up in the sky and send Jess some good vibes, so she will get better soon. I've heard that every experiment that's tried that has failed, but do it anyway. It's good karma for everyone. Okay. Mikhail, you found a bug in particles when creating. Good. Have you sent it to Maxon? Please, please, if you find anything that doesn't work the way you expect it to, always send a simplified project file to Maxon. You are helping us tremendously by highlighting these kind of things. Okay. Let's see. So, Jonathan, if the features have a large error, it won't assume a totally flat thing. What I would say is add more points to it, or because you can add more than 3 for any number of points, you just drag them the nulls in there, or use your picker. What I would suggest, another thing, is that do assisted tracking, so automatic assisted with manual tracking, and make sure that you do have at least 3 extremely high quality trackers. That's all you need. If you have 3 high quality features that are calculated properly on a flat plane, it will be flat. Otherwise, that means you have maybe too much error between all the features you're using. Okay. Yeah, this has come up a few times. Procedurally chamfer a spline without a plugin. You can do this partially using nodes, as far as I know. At least it worked last time I tried. Let's try it. You know, this is why we're here. So let's see if we can work. So and you can create your own little tool. So a node spline with this in here. Okay. Now let's go to my nodes layout and type chamfer. So Spline Chamfer. Now I'm going to right click and add a child. You can do it with a link, and child is better. Let's do this and see if that's going to work, because there may be something we need to do. Okay. So let me think about this. I think this is because the chamfer requires a spline and not a line, and this comes in as geometry. We may need to do the following thing. We right click here and we edit the resource. And actually the input. You go to the input you've added, right click and you edit the port. And in the advanced, you need to import it as a spline. Okay. Now I'm under the impression that it will work. So just like that, you have a procedural Spline Chamfer tool. This ability, it's one of those things that wasn't heavily advertised. So right click on any input. Okay, let's assume I add another input. And you right click on this and you go edit port. This is where input, if it's a spline, then you can import it in one of these 3 ways. All right, a line, which is basically the result of what the adaptive gives you, or a spline, which is the blue thing you see when you make a spline editable. When you make this editable, it's even better if I do it in a new file in the front view or something. So look how smooth this is. All right, this is very smooth spline. Now, if I go to object mode and go here and say, I want uniform and this, look at this, right? These are the lines. This is the line version. But if I go to points mode, and you see, look at that beautiful round spline. This is the mathematical representation. The blue and white gradient is the mathematical representation of my spline. It's what the Bezier or the B-spline math is giving me. The lines are these, and the spline is this. So now you know. Okay, let's see. That was Sharon. How are you doing? Okay, let me quickly go because I had a couple. Did I have a couple of questions to reply to? Now, I'm going to get to more of the spreadsheet. There is a bunch which I haven't gotten to, and anything that I can, I try to prioritize slightly what we're doing here live as a thank you for everyone that comes to the show. Yeah, so let's check out a few more questions here. Let's see, before I read it. Or Chun. I made a box with a balloon sim on the top and a small cube bouncing on it. I want to randomize it with a grid clone as Alembic and make time offset the best way to do this. We want to randomize what? This is an ideal situation where you create a very simple file and you send it to me either via the form or via direct message on Twitter, but with fewer things. Just keep the necessary stuff. Some pyro tips. If you rub two sticks together for long enough, you'll get fire. Likewise, brother. Likewise. Let's see. Let's see. Nothing is embarrassing. Through the asset browser and found an stick smoke project after this. Oh, okay. Excellent. Now, one thing that Drake says here, which is very important, it doesn't matter if I reply or not. What matters is asking the question, because in a lot of cases, getting into the process of asking a question and trying to ask it properly, you will more often than not be driven to the right answer. So I'm glad that worked for you. Okay. Thompson X. Okay. Right. Give me a second. Right. I'm going to leave this up here, that message, and I'm going to see if I can find something in the next 10 seconds. Let's see. Variable. I want to go here and search for variable. I wish Windows had an equivalent indexing system like Mac has. Every time it has to go through everything. Or is it variable font? Or is it variable typeface? I did. Come on. So what I'm looking for here is I made a setup that makes variable fonts actually interesting. And I'm glad I remembered this. Windows says it's working on it. Let's see. I'm going to remove this from here and let's see if we have any other questions. Someone just watched a tutorial. Fantastic. And it's Kay. Kay, how's VR doing? How's your brain and eyes? Go check out Kay. He does a lot of VR stuff. 1 second. Aha! I think I found it. Woo! Okay. Wait. Not this. Okay. Let's see if I found this. Variable font morphing. Now, it's not perfect. Okay, I'm going to find Robotoflex is what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm missing the font, and I need to go and find Robotoflex because I want to show you what this looks like. So It's not. So it's called Robotoflex. Let's see if I can find this. And I think it's here. And it could be this. All right. Okay. So this is a setup, an experimental setup for that matter, right? It's going through a few things and doing a few things. And what I'm doing here is I'm using this little spline thingy to control, I need to, yeah, which thickness of font I can select, right? So I was trying to see if there was a way to drive this using some sort of field or something like that. I couldn't. But although I couldn't, and each one of these is right. These fonts are weird. They have all sorts of weird settings. Let me just show you what we are dealing with here. So when you load one of these fonts, it will show you all the parameters. You know what it looks like? It's like a substance material, but font. Because when you're creating one of these fonts, you are predefining some parameters that change some things about it. And basically, I'm just using a bunch of these settings. And in any case, each one of these is controlling a different thing. But you know, if I need to touch this again because this was made using 2024.4, right? Originally, this was the original version. And since then, we've come along quite a bit with nodes. If I do find a way to make this into something a bit more useful, then suddenly you can do all this thing animated where you will drive any of these parameters using things. So I have to disagree with that they're useless. I would say that they're not easy to use, but there may be a way to use them, right? That's what I wanted to show. I'm not going to share this before I'm certain that it works because it's not functional. I don't even think you can keyframe these. I'm not absolutely sure we can do this. So I need to find some sort of solution to make this, you know, a bit more useful. Okay. What do we have here? So, Kai, Particle Setup, how can I paint a logo on a sheet of paper? It depends. I can think of 6,000 ways to do this. You draw your logo. I'm gonna draw something really nice, right? And then you just get your emitter, your basic emitter. You align to spline it. You put the spline in the align to spline. You animate this and this. Come on. Oh yeah, it needs to wake up with a particle thing. Oh, come on. Go here. Do that. And I'm not going to do too many controls here and all that nice stuff. Let's make this a circle. Let's make it smaller. Whoop. Let's tell the particles to have no speed. And don't forget to, oops, zero out this because the randomness is going to give you some randomness. And yeah, so, and you just make sure that you have a lot of these. So this could be a way of doing it or something like that. If you need something specific, you will find me on X. So something like that. You can make them move outwards a bit to appear. I did one years ago using X particles, which was sort of a paintbrush effect, because I wanted when I created these to sort of spill outwards. And I think you can sort of imitate this. I'm getting carried away now. So I want it to go not in the normal direction. I want it to go radial. Excellent. So I want these to have some sort of very small speed, 5 with the variance of 5. So something like this. You can use something to put them on the XY plane, and that would be a math modifier that will take the position Z and assign 0 because I don't want them to move on anything else. And at the same time, what I'm going to do here is add a very strong friction that will sort of slow them down, and they would, yeah, and you can make them slow down even more. Let's put the friction here. I said slow down. There we go. So you get the growing, but you can even tell them at a certain age to stop as well. So something within these things will give you a nice little inky thing. You can put this here and put a volume builder and a volume mesher. You can make this 2, and now you have a little ink thing writing and doing whatever it's doing. Okay. Something like that. Oh, I've got your thing up here. I hope you haven't missed a lot of what I was showing. Sorry about that. My attention span is very much focused on a solution. If you miss something, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah, and the idea is that you just put some sort of friction just to stop them from moving too far, and that will create some sort of expansion and all that nice stuff. Okay. If you need, again, if you have something particular in mind, you can always DM me. I'm one of your followers. You had a call. Good. If it was for business, with me, it would be my mother calling to ask me what I ate today. You know, Greeks and their mothers. At nearly 60, I'm still relying on my mum's advice. Regarding what I'm trying to do with nodes, I'm looking to build an iceberg rocks parametrically, but it's an art directional bake. I don't know what that was. Bulls. No. I've made a tutorial about this. I've made tutorials about this. I'm going to do housekeeping now. So keep your questions for next time, because while I'm going to do my, all right, first of all, the link, everyone, go to this link that will appear on in the chat, right? And click on it to get to this page. Ask your questions, loading, and you will go to other places as well. Now, Max and events, blah, 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 everything that's cool is happening here. New, refreshed look and all that. Max and Training Team YouTube channel, where all these videos are hosted after the fact, after we stream on the Maxon YouTube channel and the Maxon YouTube, Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. Our very good friend and mentor, Dr. Sassy, goes through these videos, puts on timestamps and gives us comments, any mistakes we made, any improvements we have to do. And we are very grateful for that work that he does in the background. And then these are hosted only on the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. They're not hosted on any other channel. So if you want to watch the whole thing recorded, make sure you go over here. And let's copy and paste this. Oh, you have links. If you go here, you will see we have links to that. Fantastic. Of course, go and check out how to use ZBrush, and they've added some exceptional stuff lately. And Cineversity. So go to Cineversity, and I'm going to type crystal. So years ago, I was doing a series that I was breaking down the Talos project by Swordfish. And in the process, I took a lot of these, the concepts that were used by Swordfish. Some of them I managed to optimize a bit and created a series of tutorials. Procedural crystal variations using MoGraph. Like, are you kidding me? You can do that without nodes? Duh.
With our procedural crystal now complete.
And yeah, these are procedural crystal. This is the little series with this. It's 3 videos. And basically, I'm showing you how to use MoGraph and Booleans and volumes and everything cool you mentioned to make crystals or whatever else you need. It shows you the various pitfalls and how to follow along with these things and do it. So here is the homework. Here's the homework for 891. Okay. So no, not that. Not that. Where's the question? I lost the question. Question. Where's the question? Da 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 da. There we go. Oh, it is 891. So your homework. This is your Easter homework. You need to go through these tutorials, and you need to create an iceberg, and you need to find a way, maybe through the form, where you can, if you give your consent, I can reply by email. Just say hi. I'm 891, and this is not a question. This is what I've done, and yeah, that's what I'd love people to do. Oh yeah, if you do want to contact me, you can use the form. Just say hi, and I'll respond, and that will give me an opportunity to have your email if I want to ask for a scene or something like that. Oh, you used to live in Cyprus. Nice. I've been there. We have family friends because we lived in the UK. And if you're Greek in the UK, the people you want to hang out with is the Cypriots. Okay, let's see. Well, I think that's it for now. So make sure you go. Oh, and I think that the first stage of transferring as much of the old University tutorials to the new University has been completed. So if you do find that you're missing something from the good old days of the very detailed tutorials, please let us know, because we do want to either transfer them or create new tutorials for this. So please go just search for stuff and let us know if something is missing. Okay. Yeah, I think we're quite good for today. I did the housekeeping. I overrun by 38 minutes, so I think we're in good standing. For anyone that's observing Easter or Passover, have a great weekend and enjoy. And yeah, I'm stalling now because I forgot it's the media. There it is. I forgot what I need to click on to close the show. In any case, again, I'm very grateful for everyone that hangs out here and watches me ramble for an hour and a half. Thank you very much for your questions. Don't forget to contact me on Twixer. This is my handle, or use the form and I'm going to put the form, that link over here. I posted it in the text, but you can copy it over here as well. And you can ask your question. And if you consent to us contacting you, I will use your email to ask you any particular questions. And that's it. Again, thank you very much. I'm looking for the button that says end screen. There we go. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the upcoming weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.